MC Tips and Techniques, your guide to becoming a better MC and growing your MC business. This edition, the MC's secret weapon, your resource book. Boy, I wish I had started mine a lot earlier than I did, but now it's grown into a very valuable collection, about 200 or 300 pages worth. It's packed with content to help me do my job as an expert MC. So what's actually in an MC's resource book or resource kit? Let's have a little look at what's in mine and to help you start working on your own. Well, first off, I have a collection of quotations, quotes that I can use at various times during the day, at the start, the end, in introducing speakers. Some of them are funny, some of them are quite serious. The early bird catches the worm, but it's the second mouse that gets the cheese. Stuff like that, or more serious. The famous quote of Zig Ziglar I use quite often: the elevator to success is sometimes out of service, but the stairs are always open. I love that. I've also got a whole lot of jokes in there. Some of them are actually written out in full if I don't tell them very often, or the ones that I do use a lot, I just have the title of it and the tagline so that I get that correctly each time. Then I have a whole lot of what I call just lines. These are things I use after a speaker, but before I actually thank them. People are like tea bags. You don't know how strong they are until you put them in hot water. Things like that. Then, of course, and this is probably one of the most important things in my book, are the activities and the filler material that I use. These are the icebreakers that I've gathered up over the years that I can use to get the crowd starting to talk together and work together. Some filler material. This is vitally important for an MC to have in his toolkit. These are the things that you can do for, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes when the next speaker hasn't turned up, or perhaps the speaker has finished quickly but lunch isn't ready, so you've got about 20 minutes. What are you going to do? So sure, you can get the people discussing at their tables, or you can do an activity. These are the things that are in your resource kit, so that if you know you've got to fill for 5 or 10 minutes, you can quickly whiz into the book and grab some material out. I also have introductions and thank yous. Now, once again, these can be funny, they can be serious. Some of them are a bit generic, but you then can just tweak them a little bit to fit in with the speaker. Our next speaker was recently been acknowledged by both Time magazine and Newsweek for being a long-term subscriber. And thank yous. Thank you for sharing your journey, so that hopefully we can avoid some of the obstacles as we take our own. And of course, openings and closes. Openings for the whole day and closes for the whole day, tying some loose ends together. So there's just some of the things that I've got in my resource kit, and I'm encouraging you guys to start working on for yours. So how are you going to put this together? Well, I've got 3 options for you. Quickly whiz through these different approaches: using a notebook, using a Word document or a computer document, combining that with Dropbox, and then going into an all computer thing with something like Evernote. So if you've read my book called Sleight of Mind, you'll know that I encourage everybody to keep a notebook or capture device with them at all time. We all get great ideas all the time. It's only the clever people who actually grab those ideas and are able to go back to them. So if you keep a notebook with you, you can have a section in it to start with as your MC resource kit. And so start putting down those quotations, those jokes that you hear, those lines that you think, oh, that would work nicely, or the little activities. I've got notebooks going back probably 30 years or so. In fact, I've still got my father's notebooks from when he did a bit of speaking and training himself. The second solution, and actually this is the one that I use myself, is to have a document on your computer. So I keep this all the time. It sits on the desktop of the computer, and when I hear things, I put them into that. But I'm also an analog and digital person. I like to have a hard copy of that document. So every 2 months or so, I print it out, and I have a comb binding machine. I will bind that up. It's getting quite large now, and I actually have that sitting around the desk somewhere, and I take it to any MC assignments that I am doing. So during the assignment, I can be flicking through, finding relevant material that I can use for the situation, and inserting that into my presentations. I can also, because it's a physical document, quickly make notes. I can jot down things to do when I get back to the office, or that worked well, or this is a better way to do this particular thing, or notes on what the speakers are saying, which is another thing that you can do. Lastly, you could use Evernote. I love Evernote. I don't actually use it for my MC resource kit. I use it for projects and ideas capture and things to do and to-do lists and things like that. And it obviously syncs between my different machines, but you could use it if you wanted to for your MC resource kit. And so you could set up different notebooks within it for jokes, for quotes, for openings, for lines and things like that. At a later date, I'll possibly do a quick little tutorial on Evernote and the ways that you can use that. But if you don't know Evernote, please, it's free, which is great and very, very useful. So there are three options. You can use a notebook, a physical notebook. You can use a combination notebook and computerized and link that with something like Dropbox, or you can use Evernote as a totally online sort of a system. So the next question is, when should you start? Well, I love that old Chinese quotation, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. So if you have any desire on becoming an expert MC, I encourage you to start right away your MC resource book or resource kit. So choose one of those methods and get cracking. You will be amazed after a couple of weeks how quickly that little kit has grown as you start gathering things and putting it in. So please don't delay. It will be the best thing that you have done to help forward your career to becoming an expert MC. Now, incidentally, before we finish, we've recently made available our very own Expert MC resource kit. So if you didn't start 20 years ago, you can have access to mine. It's 20 years worth of great content. Some of those jokes and quotes and activities, they're all fully explained to give you a head start on becoming an expert MC. So please check that out on the website.